Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming to our yet another webinar on effective storytelling for impact. We are lucky to have our former country coordinator from Nigeria, Chibuike, who is going to present. Will be hosting this webinar for today. um, today seems a little bit different. I know people are having trouble time listening, trouble time joining, but I hope it's gonna get better as we move forward. So, Chibuike, I'll let you introduce yourself. Everybody's on mute. I don't think we can have time for introduction, but just a snapshot. We have Ankita from India, we have Hope from Nigeria, we have Jerome, we have Nora, who is one of our exec um, team members, we have Othman from Morocco, and we have Zongo Paul from Burkina Faso. So those are the people who are online right now. Um, Otherwise, Chibuike, I'll let you introduce yourself and then carry on from there.
Okay, thank you very much, Utuk. And hi, everyone. My name is Chibuike Alagboso. Don't bother trying to pronounce the last one. So I just handed over to Jeremiah as the country coordinator for Nigeria. I was the CC in Nigeria from 2014 when IYFP came into Nigeria, and after that, I also served for another tenure, and I handed over to Jeremiah, who is really doing an amazing work in Nigeria here. So I'm very happy to lead this webinar, but just like Otuk said, it's not really going to be a one-sided thing. It's going to be interactive because nobody really has all the knowledge in the world. So in as much as on this side trying to pass over the knowledge or the information that I have, you are also free to give your inputs. You can have an updated info more than I am, so you're free to chip that in and let everyone go away with more value than they came here with. So a little bit of introduction. I have a background in health sciences. I trained as a laboratory scientist in school, in the university, but while in school, I had so much passion for media and ICT. So after school, I started a platform with my friend. It's called healthnewsng.com. So what we're trying to do was to make sure that people had access to correct information about what was happening in the health sector in Nigeria. So then it was just out of passion. We're just doing it, no gains, no money or profit attached to it. But it was really what exposed me to the development world, and being the country coordinator of IYFP. Then I didn't really know much about development world then, but doing this and volunteering for IYFP, I now had more understanding. Then I didn't know what the MDGs were, what the SDGs were, but this really, helped me get a little bit of understanding of all those. I also put in more effort to get to know more about these things. So fast forward to a few years after I started doing this, I kept on doing this, and I kind of loved and really appreciated the role of media to really drive change. Storytelling, writing, and I'm not really an expert in that area yet. I won't call myself an expert, but I got to understand the role, the importance of media in really driving change, influencing things, because a lot of people were taking interest in what we were doing. They wanted us to talk good about what they were doing. They're always sending us press releases and all that. But then I told my friend then that I started the platform with that I think we can do more instead of just writing news or reblogging what was already on the internet. So I wanted more, and I knew that with that exposure I can actually do more. So early this year I joined an organization. It's called Nigeria Health Watch. They do a lot of health advocacy, but it's really what I like because they use health communication a lot. So that's just it on my background. You can always get in touch with me if you need to know more about what I do. And yeah, so that's it. So we just get right into it without wasting much of our time. So we are talking about effective storytelling for impact. I guess, I mean, two keywords that I want to focus on here are storytelling, impact, and how to do this effectively. So I guess maybe most of us will think this is kind of a buzzword or a cliche, something we hear every time, you know, but at the end of the day, I hope we'll be going away with more understanding of what this is really all about and how we can use it to improve the work that we do for the IYAFP as CCs or as members in our respective countries. So I'll just be taking this outline for my presentation. And if I am too fast, please, I don't know, you can just tell the joke so you can slow me down because I can't really see your comments if you have any. But if you have any comments, if I'm too fast or anything, you can just put it up there so you can see it and let me know. So this is the outline I'll take. What is storytelling really? I mean, let's just talk about this. Why is it important? How do we tell effective stories? Basically, we have to start somewhere. The tools, the platforms for effective storytelling. How do we do it right? So how about impact? You know, some examples of how we can do this or how people are already doing this. And you can also share your own instances if you have any, then questions and comments. So what is really storytelling? Is it a cliche? Is it something we hear always? I mean, a lot of places if you Google, you're going to see a lot of articles turn up with the word storytelling. Storytelling. I'm a storyteller. What is it really? So I also did a little bit of search myself. Just did use Google dictionaries, and these were the definitions that came up. Activity of telling or writing stories. So that writing, I mean, when you hear story, the person that always comes to mind is write. I write a story, I'm a writer. But really, is that really the only thing that storytelling is all about? So I also went further to check. This is from Wikipedia. It describes it as a social and cultural activity of sharing stories, of course, sometimes with improvisation. So that is what I want us to focus on, especially in the context of using storytelling for impact. You can always, it's online, the definition is online, so you can, and you're going to get the presentation, so you can always check it out. But that word there, that keyword to improvise while telling these stories is something I want to really focus on, especially in our work as young people, in our work as development practitioners, in our work to drive change in our different communities and spaces of work. So how do you make use of what you have to get what you want? I mean, to really get the word out there. So that improvise. So it mustn't really be about writing, like I said earlier. When you think of story, it's write is the first thing. So it's not really about writing, you know, writing long text, stories, blogs, novels, and the rest. So you can actually improvise with the things around you. That is a very important keyword that I want us to note. So basically, I think the way I see storytelling is basically a way of getting word out there about issues that matter to you and your community. So, but remember, the word isn't literally word. Like I said, it's not really about just writing. So when I say word, I don't mean like a long piece of text or stuff like that. But also remember that there is limitless. It is limit out there. When I say out there, it is limitless because you have the internet. Yay. So I mean, that's something we should be happy about. And also note the words that I underline, you and your community. So you can be you as a person, as an individual, your community, the organization that you represent, in this case, IYF, or wherever you work. And the ways to achieve this, they are endless. That's why I say out there, when we say getting word out there about issues that matter to you, the ways to do this remain endless because there are so many ways you can improvise. I mean, again, taking me back to that keyword, improvise. There are so many ways you can do this. It's not just about tests. So Yeah, I mean, you know that feeling where you tell someone something and they're like, they yawn and like, okay, so why should I be interested? Why should you care about storytelling? Why is it important that you adopt this strategy as a way to, I mean, drive influence to get what you want, to really represent all the young people in your country or wherever you work? Why is it important? So I'll just share this quote that I saw somewhere. I think it is because people do not only buy goods and services, and in this case, we're not selling. Actually, we're not a company. We're not a company. We are an organization or an alliance, so to say. So we don't really sell goods and services, but we are selling something. We are advocating for young people in our countries. We are advocating for them to have access to quality access to sexual and reproductive health information. So people buy information, people buy people buy relationships, people buy stories, and I mean magic, the things, the amazing things that you do. This was said by Seth Godin. So this is why you should care about storytelling. And if that is not enough to convince you on why you should take storytelling seriously, I guess this should. It was said by John D. Rockefeller, and he says, the next thing to doing the right thing is the most, let me take that again. Next to doing the right thing, the most important thing is to let people know you are doing the right thing. I mean, that can be a little bit confusing to really cool, but I think this should be enough to convince you that you should get the word out there about the work that you do, about the amazing work that you do. So it's really a two-way thing. You are working, you are doing the right thing in your community. So the next important thing to doing that right thing is actually getting the word out there, letting people know about the work that you do. And the other side is also driving attention to the issues, the problems that matter to you, that you want a solution to. So this is enough. I mean, for me, this is enough. So I believe it should be enough to also convince you that storytelling is really something that you should take seriously. Because if people don't know about you, I mean, if people don't know about what you're doing, if you don't tell your stories yourself, nobody is going to tell it for you. And if people get to tell it for you, they are likely to tell it the way that they want. So they won't be able to tell the right narrative. So it's less for you to really shape the narrative and put the word out there about the work that you're doing. If you have time, you can Google up this TED talk by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. It's called The Danger of a Single Story. So you have to own your own narrative. You have to own your own storytelling, because if you don't, people are going to tell those stories for you, and they are likely going to tell a single story. They're not going to, it's not really their story, so they won't invest that effort to tell the whole story. So it lies on you to get the word out there and let people know exactly what you're doing. So that is why I think you should take storytelling serious. So how do you tell stories effectively? I mean, definitely you have to start. I guess you just have to start already. Just get started. So there are different tools, there are different platforms to use. But while you're doing that, it's also important to remember these things. So like I said, the platform to get the stories out there, they are limitless. There are so many ways you can get word out there. So it's important to choose the right platform. We're going to talk about some of the platforms. I guess you also know some maybe based peculiar to your own countries or where you work or your own context. But it's always good to know who you are communicating to, who you want to reach, the purpose of that communication, what you want to achieve at the end of the day, and then choose the right platform to get to those objectives. So it's when you choose, it's always good to, I mean, it's very important to learn the tricks and basics of the platform. So if you have a tool you want to use, if you have a TV in your house and you buy a TV, the first thing you do basically is to go through the manual and get to understand. So it's also good to be intentional about, I mean, that also takes me to getting to know the audience, who you want to take the message to, and what you want to achieve at the end of the day. So being intentional helps you to understand how you want to achieve that. So you get to plan what you want to do, plan the message you want to get out there. So you are not just telling stories for the sake of, I mean, I want to tell stories, I want to put something out there. You are intentional about it. It's also important to be consistent with what you're doing. So you don't do today and you stop. You can always retrace your steps to plan, to strategize effectively, but it's always good to be consistent. You keep pushing until you get what you want. So I put up this image to emphasize the second point. Remember the popular saying about images. Yeah, the saying is a picture is worth more than 1,000 words. I took this picture in one of the IDP camps in northeastern Nigeria, where we have the Boko Haram insurgents. So we went there for a visit, and so if you are outside Nigeria, when you hear Nigeria, or when even some of us in Nigeria, we when we hear that state, especially Borno State, we're like, oh, you're going to Borno State, you're going to die. Boko Haram is this. But there you see kids who are happy, in spite of the challenges that they are facing, they are still happy. So that is the importance of storytelling. And I was able to communicate this just with an image of this happy young boy out there. I couldn't really ask him his name because of language barrier and all that, but you see him looking joyful, posing for the camera. That is the power of an image. So it's worth more than 1,000 words, just a single image. So it's always good to be visual when you are telling these stories. Always be visual, to communicate. People, these things stick more when you're communicating with people than just text. There's also a scientific evidence to that. You can always check it out, but it always works to be visual when you're communicating than just ordinary text or words. So there is also another saying. It hasn't been said yet, but I believe it's going to be a popular saying at some point. But so if an image is worth 1,000 words, so imagine what a moving image will be worth. So I'm trying to talk about a video here. So use images, use videos. Videos are very important in storytelling. They work a lot, and they don't have to be too long. That's the amazing thing. If you look at there's so many instances, there's so many organizations. BBC does that. Short videos, they pass a message in very, 3 minutes, 2 minutes videos, they pass a very strong message. So yeah, it's not a saying yet or popular saying yet, but I believe it's also a very important saying. Videos, you should invest in videos. And the amazing thing is you can use your phone, so you don't have to invest in expensive cameras to achieve this. Also, please don't use jargon. I know you are all experts in family planning expert, SRH, and the rest of them. Don't use jargons. I'm going to show you a clip I got from a book I was reading some time ago about the using, a lot of jargons to confuse people. As an expert, you're not supposed to, depending on who you are communicating with. That's also, like I said, being intentional ahead. That if you know your audience, you have to come down to their level. If it's a technical audience, okay, then you can go technical. But if it's not, you have to come down to their level. Also be ethical. It's important to be ethical. If you need to get images, you need to do recordings, you need to get permission, get consent from people you are using their content. Let them know where you're going to use their content, their pictures or their videos or contents like that. Also, it's good to tell inspiring human stories. I mean, there are a lot of negativities in the world already, so we can make do with we have a lot of them already. So we can go the positive side, tell the human interest stories, tell stories about inspiring people, what people are doing to make their communities better. These stories are these stories are stories that people want to hear these days, honestly. And to tell you that this really works, there's a new form of journalism that is really emerging now. It's called solutions journalism. Maybe some of you in the media must have come across it. It's called solutions journalism. So instead of the whole media sensationalization, all those scary headlines to drive attention, to drive traffic. People are somehow getting tired of those kind of stories. There are researches that show that people want more positive stories. More than there are a lot of negativities already in the world. So it's always good to tell inspiring human stories. And another advantage, excuse me, another advantage of telling human interest stories is that you are able to connect more with people you are communicating to, the people you are telling the story. It's easy to relate, for them to relate, if you're telling from the angle of a human being, not just giving abstract numbers there. You can say young people in Nigeria, 60% of young people in Nigeria don't have access to quality sexual and reproductive health information. Okay, I could forget that in the next 30 minutes before you're even done with your presentation. So imagine telling the story of Musa, who couldn't access quality SRH, sexual and reproductive health information, and because of that he got someone pregnant and he dropped out of school and all that and all that. So that way people are able to relate more. So that's why it's important to remember this when you're using any platform that you're using. Yeah, so this is the slide I talked about using jargons. It was by Bertrand Russell. He's a mathematician and philosopher. He said the true expert does not, so when you have a true mastery of a discipline, it's not, you don't show it by using jargons to keep people at bay, people who don't understand the discipline. But a true expert is one who understands the subject well enough to make it the most intricate concepts of that discipline or subject accessible to a novice. So, I mean, there was this communication that we did some time ago about communicating universal health coverage. So we talked to a lot of people, and at the end of the day, we asked them, how can you explain universal health coverage to a 10-year-old? Most of them were still using all those technical terms, but at the end of the day, what we're trying to achieve is, how are you going to communicate this complicated concept or tell that story in a very simple manner that people are going to understand? So always remember to keep it simple. So about tools, there are so many tools. Like I said, you can also know, it's likely you know some that are not listed here. Twitter, we know Twitter, we know WhatsApp. We just use WhatsApp to chat, but your WhatsApp status is really a very good way to get message out there. Remember, you can post videos there. So those are some of the things that we are not really leveraging on or taking advantage of to get messages out there. Facebook, yes, we use it a lot, but are we really maximizing its potential? Blogs, you can write blogs, short stories. They don't have to be 1,500 words. You can have 300 worded piece of writing and publish it as a blog. And you can create blogs for free. Medium is really a good platform that you can use to do that. You can check up Medium. You can post. You can actually have a Medium page for IYFP in your country. You probably with a clearance from the executive team. So you can publish things there. You don't have to, it's always good to keep track of all this, your publications and your stories. So that's the advantage of using this platform instead of using Facebook and all that. So you can use Medium, you can do short videos. Like I said, videos really work a lot. People consume a lot of videos. So you can do short documentaries. And when I say documentaries, you shouldn't be scared because they don't have to be long. Don't have to be long. You can do 3-minute documentaries, you can do 5-minute documentaries, pass a message. Storify, just Google Storify. It's a way of aggregating what you have on different platforms. So let's say you did a Twitter chat, and for a particular event, let's say for the World Contraceptive Day that's coming up. So all the important tweets that people sent out during the Twitter chat, you can use Storify to arrange them. And you can put content from other platforms too, like Instagram, Facebook. So everything will be on one platform, Storify. And through Storify, you can now share it out. So you can also use photo stories, do photo documentaries, go to a location, tell their stories in photos. Those are ways to, those are tools, those are platforms to use to get message out there about what you're doing, about issues that matter to you. You can use art, you can use poetry, you can use song. Remember I said the platforms are limitless. There are so many ways. You can use art, paintings, poetry, spoken word. You can actually record spoken words, use it to pass a message. And they are really going to resonate and relate with people. Just remember to coming from a human interest. And there's this tip I heard sometimes someone said that storytelling is secular. So always remember, I mean, these are kind of the technical part of it. You can always, delve more into storytelling to understand it more, the technicalities, and no, I'm not really going into that. But always remember to always finish where you started, because storytelling is secular. That was just a tip I recently learned. So about using these tools, I mean, like I keep saying, it's all about improvising. It's all about improvising, as it is happening. You're sending your tweet, you're taking pictures, and you're sending it out there. Just remember to be intentional about what you are communicating and why you are communicating. Keep it short. Always remember to keep your content short, because I mean these days we have low attention span, and so many people have low attention span, and there is way too many content out there to consume. There's this website I stumbled upon last time. It was showing the amount of content that we push out on the internet on a daily basis. It goes into billions of content. So there's so much content out there, people are easily distracted. So you want to keep it concise, you want to hit the message before they get distracted. Always use the right tools, the right language, and the right platform for the right audience. So these are some of the things you should know about these tools for you to effectively tell your stories. Then again, how about impact? Is it another buzzword? It's something we hear a lot. Especially most of you must have written a lot about impact for you to be made CCs. Yeah, what is the impact of what you're doing? What is the impact that you hope to create and all that? Well, it's not really a buzzword. Yeah, we use it a lot anyway, but it's basically about influence. So you are telling these stories because you want something to happen. That is why I said be intentional about it. You have an intent for the story you are telling, for what you're doing. So it's basically about influence. You want to change behaviors. You want to, attract more attention. IYFP is successful today because I believe they've been very intentional about, the work that they've been doing since it was founded in Ethiopia at the conference. So you have to be able to, for you to continue to get support for what you're doing, you need to create that impact. So, and when you're talking about impact, it's basically about influence. So you are influencing action. You are making people to do, what you're doing or the story you are telling is leading to something positive. Probably young people in your community changing from not having not using protection for sexual activities, or avoiding risky behaviors, or getting the government or other stakeholders to support the work you're doing. So you are really trying to drive influence. That is what impact is all about. So it's always good. Also, another tip to remember here is, it's for you to do this, you have to speak from a position of knowledge. So your facts correctly. So when you have your facts correctly, remember, like I say, you don't have to just drop the facts as you have them. 100 people, 100,000 young people don't have access to this, or don't do this or that. You can now sit down and craft the message that you want to send. Look for young people who are having those issues, tell their stories, and relate it to the numbers, because all those numbers that we're talking about, they are actually human beings. But the way we communicate those numbers, sometimes I think we lose touch that these are really human beings. So as you're doing this, you are trying to drive influence, and that is impact. So before we round off, I'll just show us a little bit of things that can help. If you have some, you can also share with us. So, I mean, for you to communicate, for you to really tell these stories, you need to stay updated with what is happening current trends. And like I said earlier, there is a lot of content out there, so much that you need to keep track of. So it's really important to keep track of these things. And Google Alerts can help you to a large extent. So yeah, if you know how to use it, that's good. Keep using it. But if you don't, just Google up, just search Google Alerts. So you can set alerts for particular keywords, young people, family planning, even opportunities too. I mean, so whenever anything like that pops up anywhere on the internet, you get an alert in your email. So it can really be so many depending on the keyword that you are interested in. So it's always good to maybe have a separate email for that, or kind of arrange it in a way that it goes to a particular part of your email so it doesn't flood your email. So that's one way to stay updated. So because like I said, you have to communicate from a position of knowledge. So Google Alerts is going to help you, stay current with what is happening, get updates on the trends, on your topics of interest, so you can better, like, let's say Ghana does something in their Ministry of Health for young people. So if you're communicating and you are in Nigeria or you are in Tanzania or in South Africa, so you want to be able to relate to that. You want to be able to draw comparisons and say, the Ministry of Health in Ghana was able to do this for young people. So why can't we do that in Nigeria or in Tanzania or in Ghana or Uganda, since we're having the same problem? So that's really the importance of staying current on what's happening. So I know a lot of us, Twitter is a little bit technical for some people, but it's also an amazing platform that we are not leveraging on. So with Twitter, you can get in the faces of the right people. Okay, and hashtags can help you do that. So with hashtag, you can actually follow particular events or topics. So when you click on a hashtag, you get to see all the conversation that has happened with that particular hashtag. So threads also help you to, when you tweet, Twitter is one crazy place. Like, I don't know if up to 1 million tweets go out per minute. It's very possible. I've forgotten the number, but there's a website I stumbled upon that showed that. But Twitter is one crazy place. So if you can actually tell stories and everything is going to stay in a particular line in an easy to read format. And threads, I'm going to show you an image that'll help you understand how to use that. So threads can help you, tell a story, break it down. Initially, it used to be 160 characters, but they increased it. But even at that, you can, still take advantage of it and use it to tell a story. Remember, it's called a microblogging website. So it's microblog. You can actually use it to tell a complete story, in as much as there's a character limit. It's not you're not free to type so many words like Facebook, but you can take advantage of the threads feature to tell a story, knowing that a lot of people are going to get to read those stories. So you can also monitor topics of interest real time. Remember I said Google Alert, whenever it drops on the internet, you get a message, you get an email that, maybe to a link where it was published. But there's a tool called TweetDeck. So with it, you can actually monitor topics of interest real time. So that is what I mean real time. I mean as it is happening. Let's say it's what contraceptives is. So you want to be seeing, and you have like maybe 2-3 hours to stay on the internet to really see what people are saying on Twitter. TweetDeck helps you to do that. You just put in a particular keyword. I'm also going to show you a screen on how to do that. So you put in a particular keyword, and whenever someone tweets, even if it's in London that they tweet right now, you get it immediately. If they tweeted it from somewhere in Kenya, you get it immediately. If it's in Tanzania, in any part of the world, you get it immediately using this tool called TweetDeck. I think it's something you should also look in. So that's the screen for Google Alert. You just go to Google and search for it. So I think the website should be google.com/alerts, or you can just search for it on Google search. So it brings you up here. You see where it has create an alert about, you put the topic you are interested in, and okay, you can also select sessions. Then you scroll down. So when you put it up, more other options will come up on how you want it. If you want it to come daily, or you want all at the end of the day or weekly, you select the options that you want. So anytime anything on that particular topic drops on the internet, you get an alert immediately in your email. So this is TweetDeck. So you can see with TweetDeck, you can have columns monitoring different things. So you see the first column, I'm using it for trends. So and all the if a particular topic is trending, although this is restricted to Nigeria, I set it up for Nigeria. So all the top 10 trends for Nigeria, I get to see them here. This is how I want to set up because I want to be monitoring what is trending. So when something is trending, I can always find out, go and check out what, the reason why it is trending. So you can also put up an alert you can also monitor IYAFP. So you can see anytime someone tweets anything and IYAFP is inside, I see all the tweets with IYAFP here. That's it on the first column. So if you scroll down, you see any tweet that has IYAFP inside it, it shows it. You see the last tweet was sent out an hour ago, and before that, 3 hours ago, IYFP Cote d'Ivoire. So that's how you monitor. That's how you monitor topics using TweetDeck. You see another column I have there has young people. So anything that is tweeted in any part of the world with young people inside, I get the alert. You can also restrict it when you go to in the settings button there. You can also set you can also change some features and restrict it to a particular country or a particular area, or you can say a particular maybe some distance from where you are. So there are options there where you can tweak it a bit to get what you want. And you can also see another column where I'm monitoring everything on adolescent youth sexual and reproductive health. So anywhere anything is tweeted with that in any part of the world, I get the alert. The other one, family planning. So you can have so many columns, monitoring different things, and you can always close them up. So if it's a particular hashtag that you are monitoring, this helps you to keep track of that hashtag, what people are saying. So it also helps you to know the right people to follow, people who are really stakeholders, people who are thought leaders in that particular area. So TweetDeck helps you to get that. You just need a Twitter account. That's all you need. You go to tweetdeck.twitter.com on your desktop computer. I'm not sure if it works on mobile. So you sign up and you can start taking advantage of these features. So this, I talked about threads, creating a line of long posts. So Twitter has limit. This is my Twitter account, and I sent in that first tweet. Although it's a reply to a tweet from a colleague, but notice when you go down, you notice there's an option that says add another tweet. So the good thing here is when I add another tweet under the first tweet, it doesn't come up as a different tweet from the first. So when I add this tweet, I also have an option to add more. I can add, it's actually unlimited to the best of my knowledge. I don't think there's a limit to it. So you see, when someone clicks on the first tweet I have, it now shows, when they scroll down, they see every other thing. So you can actually use it to tell a story, tag the right people, knowing that the moment they click. So the good thing is, even if it is one tweet that attracted someone, that someone saw, so seeing that tweet and coming to read it, they can actually see the whole thread and get to see the whole story that you have with that thread. You can tweet pictures. So it can be a photo series that you did or a photo documentary. You can actually use threads to post it. Twitter has a limit of 4 photos, but with threads, you have the freedom to tweet as many as possible. So all you have to do is, maybe you are trying to explain a photo documentary that you did, a photographic documentary that you did in a community. So you tweet the first 4, explain them. So under the first, you add another tweet, add 4 photos again, explain, add or 1 photo or 2, depending on what you want to do. That's where everything remains in a straight line, and someone can easily go and see the thread, read it, retweet, share with friends, and that way you're getting your message out there, you're driving influence, and you're achieving what you want for your organization. So I also talked about videos. You can also take advantage of videos. They don't have to be long. And when I say videos, remember I also talked about other forms of art. poetry, songs, spoken word, paintings. You can all use these things to communicate. And the good thing about them is they can be visual sometimes. So people, these things stick with people. This is a song that was done by Otuk. I don't know if all of us know about this song. It was done by Otuk and Trev, and we've used it a lot. Even the last Nigeria Family Planning Conference, group of young people. Hello.
Yeah, I'm glad you featured that.
Say again.
No, I'm just saying I'm glad you featured that as an example.
Oh yeah, thanks. Okay. Okay, so this also helps. The last Nigeria Family Planning Conference, we used this song in a group of young people, and it really, so remember I talked about relating what you're doing with people. So it really, resonated with all the participants, the elderly. They came up and they danced with us, and they got the message. We projected the wording so they could join us, and all the young people came up stage and sang the song. So this is a way to get messages out. You have people, you have amazing people in your networks, in the IYFP networks. You have poets. They can do short songs. They can do short poetry. Spoken word. You record them, talk about issues, talk about the things. You can use the poetry to talk about the things you are doing, and also the issues that people have in your community. You record them and get them out there. So you can check the song. This is just 3 minutes 48 seconds. It's not really long, but I'm telling you, it's having a lot of impact. It's been played it was played at the last International Family Planning Conference also. So please, you should explore some of these things. This was also done by, okay, that's the video I just talked about. Okay, so the video behind it is not really showing very well. It's a short documentary that was done by a young person here in Nigeria. It's called Because She Matters. So done by Onyinye Ede. I don't know if some of us know her. She came to Nigeria to do a fellowship. She worked with the Institute of Current World Affairs, and at the end of the day, she documented some, not all really, because there were a lot of things that she saw, but she did the short documentary of some of the problems that she saw young people in rural communities face, and it was screened at the US Embassy here in Nigeria. And I'm telling you, so you see what I talk about being limitless, or the reaching people. It's on the internet, and a lot of people can see this video. It's all about sharing it to the right people and getting them to see it. This is also another instance. You can see so many short videos. This is from Hasty Health Initiative. Some of us will know Isaiah Welabe. He's one of the founding members of IYFP also. So this is their YouTube page. You can see a lot of short videos there, 2-minute videos, 1-minute videos, 5-minute videos, all these things speaking to a particular issue the young people face, family planning, sexual and reproductive health, depression, maternal health, and the rest of them. These are short and they are very powerful, very, very powerful, believe me. And with WhatsApp these days, you can really share these videos also, and you can't tell where they are going to end up. So please, these are opportunities that you should leverage on to really drive impact and influence around the work they're doing. And finally, I want to share, this is something I really started. I think it's only one person that will know about this, Jeremiah, the country coordinator of Nigeria. I don't know if he's here right now. So it's something that I started sometime, though I've failed in that area of being consistent, but I intend to start it again because I want to be more intentional about it. So you can also share personal stories. I started the commute. When I relocated to the federal capital of Nigeria, I got into an organization here. So I started sort of writing about my experiences coming and going to work and other places. So, striking things that happen, I just tell the story, in a third person, narrative. And I was just telling the stories using my WhatsApp status, and all of a sudden, people were coming into my messages and were telling me, "Wow, this is amazing! Continue this story." And when I stopped, a lot of people were really angry that I stopped. That why did you stop? I need to continue this. So you see, personal stories really work a lot because these are things that people relate with. They see these things every day. So it's easier to tell them that the driver who drove me from here to my destination, slept off because he drank alcohol last night. They can relate with these things than to tell them that 10,000 drivers die on a daily basis because of alcoholism or drug abuse or stuff like that. Those sound a little bit abstract and academic. So you bring them down with personal story. So I hope to start the commute very soon. And if you're on WhatsApp, maybe you'll be following the commute. So please make use of these opportunities. You can always get in touch with myself, or Otu can share my contact details. Or there are other tools out there. There are other people who know some of these tools better than I do. I've just shared the ones that I know. So please do make use of them to drive influence and impact around the work that you do. And if you have any questions, we'll address them now. And if I don't answer all of them, you can always get in touch with me. So thank you very much. I hope I didn't spend so much of the time. And I hope I still will have enough time for questions. So I'm really open to hearing what our thoughts are around this topic. Thank you very much for participating.
Well, thank you, Chibuike, for an amazing presentation. Time is running out, so I'm gonna jump right direct into questions. Let me see what's on the question box. So Only Hope was complimenting you for an amazing one, amazing presentation. So if you have any question, if you have anything you need clarification, please, you can chat in the chat box, or you can raise your hand. I'll unmute you and you can ask your question. By the way, speaking of storytelling, one of the things that we are trying to be it's one of the things that you can use when you want to be a bit more creative in sending your message out there. It's something that Chibuike has mentioned, and it's why in this year's ICFP, where there's always a youth plenary. Actually, IOFP is going to lead a youth plenary, and we are not doing any panels, but rather we're doing something else that is related to storytelling. So it's a monologue, and people will be sharing stories about other people's experience, especially young people's experience in accessing family planning services and things like that. So storytelling can be one of the very, very innovative way of getting your message out there. Stephen says, thank you, Chibuike, for your presentation. It really awesome. It was awesome to be part of it. And Kita says, great presentation. I see some of the people joining now, and we're just about to wrap up. Yeah, I think, yeah, the internet wasn't good. But yeah, so is there anything that people want to talk about? But don't worry for anyone who just come in late. Again, I'm going to be sharing the recording version of this, so you don't have to worry. And also we have Alan, one of our exec member, just join us a call. Alan, if you want to say something, I'm going to unmute you right now. Alan?
Yes, some of them are having internet issues.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was muted. Yeah, but now I could unmute myself. Thanks, Otu. Well, I would just want to say thanks for this webinar. It was very interesting, I think, and thank you for everyone that was able to attend, because this kind of webinars are very important to continue building our skills in many different topics. So this webinar around storytelling was very productive.
Thank you, Alan.
Yeah. All right. So if we don't have anything else, I will just call it the end of the webinar, and I'm going to be sharing the recording on Monday. So Thanks for coming, and stay tuned for another one next week.
Okay. Akita asked, okay, thanks everyone. Akita said something here about, hello, Tuk.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Akita says, I actually would like to read the WhatsApp stories. Please do share your contact details. And I love the name, The Commute.
Okay, so
Right,
so
yeah,
you can
so
get my, yeah, you can get my contact details through
yeah, I'll share your contact details. No
yeah, you
worries.
can just share it. You can just share it. All right, thanks everyone.
Thanks everyone for coming.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye, Otuk. Thanks for having me.
Sure.